Hey everyone, welcome to week 3 of Brit 2. So this week is where it gets kind of fun, at least in my opinion. It's been fun prior to this, but now it's really fun. So this week we're discussing the moderns and modernism, which is a term that's kind of thrown around, basically just meaning like now is kind of how people use it, that we're in a particular modern era. But we want to make sure that we really nail down what that idea means. So if you're weary from the button-down, straight-laced rule following of the Victorian era, you're in luck. We're kind of going back to that kind of sense of punk rock that the Romantics had. The transition to modernism embodies the cigarette-smoking, leather jacket-wearing sentiment. Rules were meant to be broken. A lot of you are excited about that. So the moderns, they're like the hipsters before it was cool. If you try and label a modernist, they're going to be really upset. They don't like you to classify them and to put them in any kind of box. They're going to say you're wrong and classify why you're wrong. They're really edgy in their methods, and what they try to do is offend people almost with their sensibilities with a lot of shock art, shock writing, things like that. They're trying to break new ground, discover new ways of seeing the world that wake up people to the horrors around them. So it's important to note that the modern era occurred in the wake and aftermath of World War I. So you have a lot of people that are extremely disillusioned with the way that the world is working. They've seen the horrors that a world war can bring, and ultimately their values and traditions they've grown up with are not quite fitting their new perception of the world in the wake of that war. So we see that this rigidity and the good manners of the Victorian era are kind of just swept into the dustbin, and Victorians should be abandoned for a lifestyle that Victorians should be abandoned for a lifestyle that sought out pleasure and meaning apart from the authorities and structures that once provided them. So this is a very rebellious period. So things that have seemed traditional and authoritative, there's a lot of attack upon those systems. So these bad boys and girls are rebels, seeking to shock readers and audiences into the harsh realities of our world, not caring if they disrupted the traditions and norms of culture in the process. So just like last week, you've got a little bit of background here for you to watch. There's also a text, The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, and Odor of Chrysanthemums by D.H. Lawrence. So not a whole lot of text this week, but they're a little bit longer. And you also have the film Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. So it's a play that Samuel Beckett wrote, and obviously this is the adaptation of that play. Make sure that you explore these resources for modernism from the Encyclopedia Britannica. And the novel option is one that is near and dear to my heart, one of my favorites of all time, The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. This book will be cray. So there's lots of twisty-turny things that are in it. But I just want to point out again, in case you're still confused, that is one of the options for you to read for your final project. And if I was you, I would probably be getting close to finishing up that novel this week, whether you're reading the book from the Romantics, which was Northanger Abbey, whether it was from Victorians, which was A Christmas Carol, from the moderns, which is The Man Who Was Thursday, or the postmoderns, which is Harry Potter, right? So you should be getting close to finishing that. And if you have been dragging your feet a little bit, they're all really short novels, dadgummit, go make you a good old cup of coffee right now. Go make you a good old cup of coffee, sit down, and just crush it. Just crush it. Stop watching whatever is on Netflix. What are you watching on Netflix right now? What are you watching? What's the big show? Just stop watching it and start reading. Just knock that book out. Okay? So the discussion board is very similar to the previous discussion boards. You all are crushing those. You're doing so well. I've been very proud of you thus far. So make sure that you're staying up to date with all of that. Remember that your discussion board and your comments are due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. And make sure that you're making progress on that final project. Okay? So if you're confused about what your submission should look like, please note that if you're not getting a perfect score, chances are that I'm leaving some comments on your submissions about how you can improve your scores. And also, watch this video from the midweek check-in. I give you an example of what a good post looks like. And I've also posted these submissions here as well. So look over those and make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Okay, that's all I have. You all are awesome humans. I hope you have a delightful and enchanting week. Goodbye.